Sean Payton continues to put his fingerprints all over this Denver Broncos squad, bringing in another savvy vet to bolster our defensive line. Out of the 71 players who are reporting to offseason voluntary workouts, 42 of those are now Payton's players. I think that is a very good thing for this Broncos team. We're going to break down why in this video. We're going to look, one of the 4 teams released its new uniform and its new logo. We're going to look at that, and we're going to look at the latest rumor about Denver Broncos and perhaps trading up in the draft. So let's dive in. We mentioned yesterday how important it is for Sean Payton to start putting his fingerprints all over this team so that there can be no excuses. If the Broncos do not turn this thing around, it's not because Sean didn't have the chance to buy the groceries to make the meal. We know Sean Payton is a Bill Parcells disciple. He's part of that coaching tree, and Parcells had that very famous line that said, if they're expecting me to make dinner, I better be able to go shop for the groceries. And Sean Payton is shopping for the groceries and picking all the perfect ingredients for his system. And he went out and signed today a defensive tackle, journeyman in the NFL, who started tons and tons of games. He hasn't been like a standout, but you don't make it 10 years in the league starting from multiple different organizations with very little time without being a savvy veteran. And that's exactly who we have. Angelo Blackson, 6'4", 6'4", 305. He is a house. He's a very big dude. And he's played for the Bears, the Jaguars, the Texans, and played for Vance Joseph. Vance Joseph just glowed and gushed over him for the Arizona Cardinals. The things that make me most excited about signing him is that both in his stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars and then with Vance Joseph with the Arizona Cardinals, he stepped in and started almost every game, even though with the Cardinals, he was signed 5 days before the league kicked off, and with the Jacksonville Jaguars, it was just a few days before the season kicked off. You can't do that if you don't know what you're doing, and he played almost every single one of those games. His best year of production was the year he played for Vance Joseph, and so you know if anyone can get stuff out of him, it's going to be Vance Joseph. He had almost 3 sacks that year, had 2 blocked kicks, which is pretty cool. Kind of reminds me a little Shelby Harris-esque. Love this little video here of him. And I was trying to do a little research. He just manhandles and bull rushes the guard here, number 69 for the San Francisco 49ers. And I believe this is Mike McGlinchey. And just watch him push back and kind of take away any space for Garoppolo there to step up in the pocket and make it happen. So I'm pumped that now we got DJ Jones, who has been a very highly graded defensive tackle. Zach Allen, who Vance Joseph made a priority to go take him from the Arizona Cardinals. We have Malcom Roach, who's one of the highest rated PFF defensive tackles against the run. And now we're bringing in Blackson. I think that can be a very, very good thing. So we look at his PFF grades that he's had, several years of being a very serviceable, 10 years in the NFL. And he's had PFF grades that I think are on par with some pretty good dudes. Here was one of Shelby Harris's years here where he had a bunch of blocked kicks for us. Shelby Harris, obviously out of Michigan State University. Oh, actually went to Illinois State. I thought he went to MSU. But, looking 61 to a 58.7. And then looking, DJ Jones has had years where, he has been up or down. Last year, that was his rating. But he has had multiple years where he's been a very, very highly graded defensive tackle. So I just envision with Baron Brown healthy all year, with Cooper coming on, Benito coming on, Sanders on the edge, we now have really a platoon of guys on the outside, and now we have so much depth in the middle of that defensive line that I feel really good about it, that we have Malcom Roach to throw in on early downs, and now we have people who can push the pocket and help maybe get us some sacks. If the Denver Broncos aren't getting any edge rush and these guys can be double teamed, that can really be why they're having such low grades here. And so I hope this year that we have a defensive tackle who can pressure the quarterback. Denver Broncos actually, even this week, are doing one of their top 30 visits with Sweat out of Texas, who would be another huge get here, and that would make me think the Broncos might be trading back into the first round and trying to pick up some picks if he is still on the roster. But man, Sean Payton has just gone out. I said the number 42 guys that he's brought in who are Payton's players, and it really is we're not signing any 10 out of 10 guys, but we're signing a bunch of savvy vets who are 7 out of 10s. And you see that with Throckmorton, you see that with Mustafa, and I just feel really good that we have a bunch of backups and reserves who can come in and spell those players at altitude. And although last year we were one of the healthiest teams in the NFL, once the season actually kicked off, players get hurt, and now we have serviceable backups that, you look at our offensive line, that if Forsyth doesn't work out at center with Mustafa, Throckmorton as backups, they're definitely serviceable centers with amazing guards on either side of them. And I'm feeling very, very excited just about the war that Sean Payton has made by bringing in dudes who can battle in the trenches. And we know the NFL has won or lost in the trenches, and he's really bulking both of those up by signing a bunch of 7 out of 10. As the famous investors always say, you never go broke when you make a profit, even if it's a little profit. And so we are just incrementally getting better. And you really can't tell me that there's a single position on this team that we've taken a massive step back in. And I'll say that until I am blue in the face. Other thing I wanted to go over is we see a rumor come out today that a Denver radio personality hints that it is very possible that the Denver Broncos are going to trade up on the 25th, their draft. Now, we aren't going to make that trade right now because it is all contingent upon, hey, if this player falls to this spot, we're calling the team and here's what we'll do. And so there might be calls into these teams saying, hey, Arizona Cardinals, if Drake Maye is still there at 4, we're going to give you this and this and this, and tell us what the Vikings are going to give you and we'll beat it. But all of this is contingent upon the player that we want falling to us. So the Broncos radio personality who hinted that Sean Payton might indeed be willing to trade up has a little more credence to it than if it were, I don't know, to be someone like, D-Mac or Mike Evans or something like that, who aren't always super connected. But this was Dave Logan. So he's the Broncos media, if you will. He's calling every game. On bad days when I really need a pick-me-up, I just go and watch his call from Super Bowl 32. Still gives me chills. Just saying, oh, baby, we're going to win this thing.
Up the salute in Denver.
You can stand up and salute in Denver. Finish it off for me, Broncos fans.
You got the world champions that live in your town.
Stand up and salute in Denver because we got the world champions who live in your town. So, man, he is super plugged in, and he came out and said, I think knowing Payton a little bit, if the guy is there and they think they can move up, he would not hesitate trading next year's first and the 2026 first to go get his guy. He doesn't care about picks. He wants to get his guy at quarterback. And you just look at his past several years in New Orleans, he wasn't a trade back kind of guy. He was a trade up kind of guy. So all this is contingent upon, I don't think he's going to settle. I don't think he's going to be like, oh, we'll trade up for the scraps that are left over. But I think he in his mind knows who he wants. And if he is still there, do not be surprised to see him pull the plug and go get that. Logan mentioned specifically JJ McCarthy and Drake Maye as being dudes that he thinks could fit Sean Payton's system. And if they are there, he's going to make the move. And it's pretty, we watch a lot of mock drafts and we say stuff like, oh, there's no way JJ and Drake Maye are off the board in all these mock drafts. But we remember time and time again where you see guys sitting in the green room a lot longer than everyone predicted them to. I remember a lot of people, I was watching the draft at a friend's house last year, and everyone was like, oh, Will Levis is going to be gone by pick 3, and he kept falling and falling and falling. And so if you see that happen with Sean Payton's guy and he thinks he is in striking distance, do not be surprised if he goes up and does that. In the comments, let me know, who do you kind of hope between JJ McCarthy and Drake Maye, if we could get them for 2 additional first-round draft picks? If those are Payton's guys, are you here for it? I am definitely here for it, and I love the idea of trading multiple firsts over trading a proven commodity like we have in Pat Surtain. The hit rate on a defensive player in the first round is certainly better than the hit rate is on a quarterback. But the fact is, like, we know Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in football. And so in my mind, he is worth more than a first round draft pick because he is the dude. Like, he was picked at the 9th pick, and then he has overperformed what even our loftiest expectations for him were. So I feel like trading Pat Surtain, that's like at least multiple first round draft picks. So I like the idea. Let's give, if we're going to do this, I would rather do multiple first round draft picks rather than a first and Pat Surtain because he is a proven commodity. I also think, if we play our cards right and we get the guy, if we get CJ Stroud, then our picks are, you're talking a 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Hopefully we make the playoffs next year or in 2 years. And then first round draft picks don't even really matter. We got guys like Adam Gotsis. I don't have to tell you. You remember all those years when we were playoff contenders, the first round didn't even mean anything. So if we get our quarterback, first round draft picks don't mean nearly as much. But don't want to do that unless Payton knows who his dude is. We're about a week away from the Denver Broncos revealing their new uniforms, and I think the Jets are the first team to come out with their new uniform set today. I had wondered if the Broncos might want to be the first team to announce, but we still have Detroit Lions, and they are announcing theirs in 2 or 3 days here, and then the Houston Texans, although theirs has already leaked on Twitter. But looking here, I think this is kind of what we can hope for the Broncos refresh, is that an outsider looks at the uniform and just says like, hey, I don't really notice what's that different about it. I think it's a pretty sick look to me. I love they're all black here. They added an additional stripe to the sleeve, and then they kind of went and combined multiple different logo sets here. They added the actual airplane back to the jet here, which is kind of cool. And if you look, like here's Breece Hall, you see just a single stripe on the sleeve there, and you see it's the Jets with a football. And now you see this new look. Here's one of the 3rd or 4th best corner. We have the first in our man, Pat Surtain, but here's the other one people talk about. Sauce Gardner being pretty good, and you look adding that additional stripe to the sleeve, and I think that's kind of what we'll see here. Here's last year's jersey with just one stripe on the sleeve, so we added an additional stripe and then added the actual Jet back to the Jets uniform. So very, very excited to see what comes out of the next few days. It has been a blast riding with you, Broncos Country. Thanks for watching, and let's giddy up. I got a bigger ball. Didn't help.